going on, everybody? We've got some Eagles talk, a little Phillies talk to wrap up the summer, at least for the trading deadline, and our introductory talk for the Eagles, at least on this show. So hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. Let's go.
Let's go! This ain't the fuck like this game, he stinks!
Oh shit!
It's gone!
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of A2D Wednesday Night. A2D Wednesday Night, every single Wednesday, is brought to you by BetUS, and BetUS is the leading online sportsbook that have been in the market for over 25 years. You can bet anywhere in the U.S. on literally anything. You can just use the link or the promo code A2D for 125% sign-up bonus. We've got no time tonight, no Chrome tonight, but the usual cast of characters, especially a return of Mr. Eaton, which he's awake right now. Everybody get your over-unders right now.
I'll give it 15 minutes.
You're going 15?
Yeah,
right,
15 minutes.
Give me half an hour.
So it's what? What time is it? It's 9:53.
Yeah.
So from 15 minutes from now, we can all do the math in our heads. Or at least we can try to.
10:45.
10:08. Yeah, that's definitely the math. Very good, Ralphie. But no Chrome tonight, no Tom. Both enjoying some vacation. They'll be back in the next couple of days. You know, I'm sure Tom will be on Sunday, and Chrome will be back next Wednesday for A2D Wednesday nights. But you've got Ralphie, who's apparently excellent at math, as he just described.
Absolutely.
You've got Greg, who we know he's great at numbers, especially when he has to go to the age. And I'll make sure for everybody at home, because that's like a running thing, I'll make sure I have Greg check the ages of at least, I'll go 12 athletes tonight. So we'll have to keep track on that also. Noah Eaton, who I brought up earlier, Frank Vesti, I'm Ryan Brodo. It's going to be a little bit different of a show because obviously it's going to be different because we're talking about a Phillies trade deadline that not only mattered, but really has mattered, which, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I just want to speak for myself, but I think I'm right on this. It's been a while since, we've had a trading deadline as Phillies fans where, I hate saying the word, means something, right? Because last year it meant something. For a couple years with Clint Tack and McPhail, at least we thought it meant something before they did the, if we make the playoffs, we do. If we don't, we don't. If we do, we do, that whole thing. But we actually got some really exciting things over the last 24 hours. I would say majority of people would agree with that. And that was based off of the MLB trading deadline. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. And at least for us as a show, we've got a little bit of Eagles. And it's a running joke, I know, at least with Greg and I this time of the year, because in the past, and this is funny because it goes right back to being affected by the Phillies, in case you didn't know, they've sucked the last handful of years, pretty much the last 10, 11. So because they've been kind of irrelevant or just scrapping around, we've been forced to go to Eagles a little bit earlier than we've wanted to. So every time, this year, Greg and I are like, Eagles already? Like, we're going to the Eagles already type thing. We made it to August before we got a chance to dive into it, which I think is a credit to the team, both for the Eagles and the Phils. But we're going to kick off our Eagles coverage, at least as a show on Wednesdays, talking about our biggest concerns as Eagles fans entering, I would say, a pretty exciting 22-23 season based off of expectations, based off of the moves that were made by Howie Roseman and the organization, throughout the spring and early summer. So we're going to start with the Eagles, and we're going to kind of rip off the Band-Aid because we always hear, like, okay, we've got some good news, we got some, bad news. What do you want to start with? It's usually the bad news. So we'll start with concerns. We'll rip the Band-Aid off, and then we'll get to the Phillies and everything that happened surrounding them and obviously around the MLB in hour 2. That goes right into our poll question, which is brought to you every single week by Manscaped, and you can get 20% off and free shipping with the code A2D at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping with the code A2D. It's time to throw out all of your old hygiene habits and upgrade your life with Manscaped. And like you said, you can do that with the promo code A2D for 20% off your order. The poll question tonight, and it's cool because I guess because we've been so wrapped up with the Phillies and, a little while ago with the Sixers, we haven't even really scratched the surface with Eagles, at least as a show. And, we talk outside, the airwaves. I don't even know what any of you guys feel about this season coming up, or especially to this poll question. So I'm interested to see what we both have to say, and obviously the fam. So I want the fam to chime in, and we'll get to your comments. But we start off with this question. Jalen Hurts is by far your biggest concern as an Eagles fan entering the season. Do you agree or disagree with that statement? And it's tough. I'll get it started, and then, we'll work around the room. We'll get to the comments. I wanted to make sure I added by far to this because I think, he's the biggest question mark. He's the quarterback. Whether you like him, whether you hate him, whether you love him, whether you're kind of in the middle with it, we all have questions about him, right? If you don't, I don't know what you're watching. I really, truly don't. So I think it's an easy poll question. Is he the biggest worry, biggest concern? Yeah. But by far, I'm going to go disagree. I'm going to say he's not by far my biggest concern. And by no means does that mean I think he's a good quarterback, a serviceable quarterback. I don't know. When people ask us in the chats, especially on Mondays, we've dove into it a little bit. They're like, hey, guys, how you feeling about Jalen Hurts? And I'm always like, he's okay. And I don't really know what that means. What's an okay quarterback? 15 to 20? What does that mean? Is that a playoff win? Is that a playoff run? Or is that not even good enough? I have concerns about Jalen Hurts, but I think a second is Jonathan Gannon, right? And listen, Jonathan Gannon, from at least my knowledge, he's not playing for you, right? He's just a coach. So how really can he affect the team if he's not playing, if he's not making tackles, catching the ball, etc.? But there were a lot of questions surrounding Jonathan Gannon all last season. I don't think it's a hot take to say that he really didn't show any signs of being able to make a good quarterback uncomfortable, and even some of the bad ones, like the DiNucci game, the Daniel Jones, the Heinekes. I have the nightmares of broadcasters past in my head of them on the broadcast saying, oh, DiNucci looks really comfortable. Heineke looks really comfortable. And you don't want that. And I get it. Listen, he might have been a victim to the lack of talent, and by far we've upgraded pretty much in every position group, which is good. I'm not sold on him, especially because he never really showed me he can put players in positions to succeed. So I'll expand on it a little bit, which I'm sure you guys will too. So I will disagree with the poll by saying I'm concerned about Jalen Hurts, but he's by far, I don't put him into that category. Ralphie, I'll start with you. Is Jalen Hurts by far your biggest concern, or is there somebody that maybe jumped him, or are you like me where you're maybe concerned
for
about
me,
a little bit?
I'm gonna go disagree as well. Obviously, we all know that the quarterback position in the NFL is the most prominent position in all sports, right? It starts with the quarterback and ends with the quarterback. But I think now he has weapons around
What up,
him
Molly?
where to be fair, this is probably one of the best wide receiver teams so far we've seen in the last 5 years for the Eagles, right? Devontae Smith, AJ Brown, stuff like that as well, right? So for me, I'm gonna go disagree. And the one guy that it seems like he's always been in the offseason, right, that has the high expectations are always, and little MVP talk comment and stuff like that. I'm gonna go Miles Sanders. I'm gonna go Miles Sanders for mine. And the reason why is because yet again, it seems like every single year it's been a fumble issue. Oh, go ahead, Greg.
No, I just say
No,
say
he's
hi to
talking to the
Julio.
chat. He's saying hi to the chat. Good.
Oh, gotcha.
I just put Julio.
For me, it would be Miles Sanders just because of the fumbles issues. And yet again, if you can't get this running game going with Miles Sanders, then it's going to be another long year for Jalen Hurts, because we all know that Jalen, hasn't been that accurate passer, or has been that, that quarterback that can throw the ball, precision wise down the field for you, for these past 2 years, or, for these past 2 years that he's been playing for us. So I think for me, I wouldn't disagree, and I'll stick with Miles Sanders for the biggest concern for me.
In a contract,
and it's definitely a contract year, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So
absolutely, Ralph.
And obviously, the way that Kenny Gainwell played last year too really sparked a lot of eyebrows. So I mean, it's a contract year for Miles, and hopefully he can put it together for us.
Mr. Milakovic?
Yeah, no, I mean, I absolutely hear what both of you say. I'm going to also disagree, and it's the by far right. I mean, there's, and I don't want to say there's a lot of concerns on this team, but I don't think that there's any one concern that's any more than the other, right?
Okay.
I think when you look at, we revamped our defensive line, right? So what does that look like going into this year, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, we made Jordan Davis, our first round pick. We get BG back from the injury. What is BG, back from an injury at that age, right? What is Derek Barnett doing off of a 1-year deal now? We revamped and we kind of loaded up on our linebacking core. When you look at Reddick, like, what is Reddick going to actually be standing up or down, right? And then we had Kazir White, you had Dean in the draft to go with, some good guys that we've had. Just we never had the grouping that we do now, right? I'm not saying that's a concern, but again, we've never had it.
Don't know what to do with our hands. Don't know what to do with our hands.
When we did have a decent linebacking core, we did pretty well that year, I think. But you look at TJ Edwards and then Sean Bradley on special teams, what becomes of, why am I drawing a blank now on the kid?
Kobe? Davion Taylor.
Yes. What becomes of Davion, right? Out of college, he didn't play a whole lot. So he's obviously, and he's not played a whole lot here, but he's been around. You look at the back end of the secondary, right? You're still talking and you're still looking at a possibility of a Jesse Bates. Well, if your back half of your field was solidified, you wouldn't be talking about a Jesse Bates.
Yep.
Right? You'd be set. But on the offensive side of the football, and I'm not even really concerned with all those, but I'm saying those are all, to me, equal to what Jalen Hurts is for this football team. I think Howie Roseman did an excellent job on the offensive side of the ball, surrounding him with players, with playmakers, with an offensive line that's going to be in the top 5-3, if not the best in football, pending health, right? Jalen Hurts showed enough flashes last year, as much as I might not think he's the guy. He showed enough flashes that with these weapons and this offensive line, that I think we're going to be fine on the offensive side of the football if he just takes a marginal step better, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you talk about, what does a good quarterback look like? Well, a good quarterback can win you a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
When you look at the likes of like a Brad Johnson, a Trent Dilfer, right? Those types of guys, those guys were just good quarterbacks.
Well,
Rex Grossman, did he win or did he just get there?
No, they lost.
No,
They lost to the Colts that year.
Got there,
Yeah.
right? Rex Grossman was not a good quarterback.
Yeah.
But, so that's where I think Jalen is in this position, and I really hope he makes that step forward, right? I'm trying not to even read any of the reports coming out of camp because I truly don't care.
No, it's too much.
And I want to see what the kid does game one. I really do, because I think he's got the attitude, he's got the mentality, and so I'm going to completely disagree. He is by far not my biggest concern.
Wow.
You know what's funny too? At least for me, I don't know how you guys feel about this too. It just feels weird when camp opened up and we're not sitting here and saying, "Damn, well, there's a hole at safety or there's a hole at, hole at the linebacker position, right?"
Yeah,
we went
really
into camp with saying, "Holy shit, there's literally no holes on this team."
Yeah,
and that's a concern in itself.
Wide receivers good, the tight end,
Yeah.
the tight ends, defensive line, everything seems to be covered so far. Granted, knock on wood, camp just opened up, but I mean, it just feels so weird to say, man, there's no holes right now. This is insane.
Exactly. And
No,
reading all
young
these
dream
reports,
team. We go with dream team.
Yeah, let's keep that. That's the one time we're saying that name.
Oh, right.
We're never saying that.
And even
Oh,
then,
negative
there's no true negative reports out there. I mean, there's the conflicting reports with, what camp Jalen Hurts is having, but it's all smoke. I mean, to me, I almost said agree, but because you added the by far, I'm going to disagree to the poll.
I'm shocked. I'm shocked that this is all disagree. So, which is okay. I'm not mad.
Right,
at it.
it's fine. I was going to say agree, but because it's a prove it year for Jalen Hurts that he can be the guy. He's got the weapons in AJ Brown and a Devontae Smith who's going to get better and better. So he's just got to get it all together. And seeing the reports, the good reports and the smoke, something tells me he's going to have a year far much better year than he did last year, and those brief glimpses back in 2020. But I mean, for me, where I'm going to disagree, it's got to be the defense. We spent a huge chunk of this offseason adjusting the defense. We got Jordan Davis, Nakobe Dean. I mean, we got guys like Jaquiski Tart, Kaiser White. We made so many significant improvements on the defense. I mean, I think this is probably one of our more well-stacked defenses that I probably in a long time since we have it. Since we haven't, probably since the Super Bowl year, probably a great defense. So I'm go ahead.
Well, I'll just say, Frank, to your point, that is why, and again, it's a good problem to have, but that is why my concern for Jonathan Gannon is so high, because
exactly,
like, listen, it could be as simple as he had no talent. He played a missionary beyond missionary defense, the most cookie cutter. Hey, we're not going to get beat over the top, but we're going to let every play in front of us happen just to eliminate the 20 plays over the top. Because that's like the one thing our defense did well.
Oh, absolutely.
We didn't get, like, would you guys all agree with that? Like, we never got to the quarterback. In some games, we didn't even pressure the quarterback.
I couldn't even tell you the last time I saw an Eagles sack last year. I can't remember.
Probably that Detroit game.
To the quarterback. Probably that game.
Yeah,
probably the only game we only got pressure on.
But it was like,
I think Derek Carr completed another pass across the middle of the field.
Oh my God!
Just while we're talking,
it was like the one.
Fellas.
Oh, go ahead, Noah.
Okay, Noah.
All right. Believe it or not, I'm going to agree to the poll. Okay. Jalen Hurts is my biggest concern. All right. Of course, I'm the a-hole that's going to go against the grain here.
Please do.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to do it.
Yes, this kid has potential, and he showed some promise last year. But it depends on what you're asking this kid to do. Okay? Yes, I know the likes of Brad Johnson and Trent Dilfer, bad, mediocre to bad quarterbacks that won a Super Bowl. All right? But keep in mind, they had lights out defenses on those teams. I mean, lights out. They were holding opponents to frickin' 9 points a game, okay? And that was back when you were allowed to play defense. So let's face it, today's NFL, you got to put points on the board. And in today's game, that means throwing the ball down the field. Now, if you're asking Hurts to be slightly more than a game manager, then we'll be fine. But if you're asking this guy to be Aaron Rodgers, we're in trouble. All right? And who knows, maybe he will someday turn into a prolific passer. But we're really fooling ourselves if we think he's anywhere near that yet. I mean, yes, he has the weapons. Yeah, I'm sorry. I mean, I'm really pleased with the receiving core, and just maybe this is the year we can finally cut ties with Jalen Reagor. I mean, I don't even think he's going to make this football team.
I don't think he's going to make it either.
In about
20 hot seat.
In about 25 minutes, he's going to be not a big topic, but he'll definitely come up. But no, it's like, to your point, and I think everybody's points, and then I'm going to get to some of the notable comments in the chat in a second. But I think
it just depends on what you're asking Hurts to do.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Well, to be honest,
and I just hope we don't get foolish into thinking that, well, this guy can be Tom Brady. We can chuck it around 50 times a game.
All we're asking him to do is use the offense. It's like, as much as we ask, hey, help the offense. No, let the offense help you. Like, how many times? And it's honestly, it's comical at times of how bleak it got, because, like, I feel like it's all I'm asking him to do. Like, hey, if/when, and it's going to be more of when, not if. Devontae Smith is wide open, especially now that he's going to be single covered, because you can't double him when you have A.J. Brown on the field.
Yep.
And A.J. Brown's roaming, or Dallas Goedert's roaming, or you have Kenny Gainwell coming out of the backfield. I would say Miles Sanders, but A, don't know if he's going to stay healthy, B, fumble it, or C, drop it. So we'll get to that. I won't even put him on the list. It's like these guys are going to be available to you. You have one of the best, if not the best, offensive line in football. And hey, if you get a little banged up, this line, both offensive and defensive, but really offense, it's like they have two tiers. It's like, somebody goes down. All right, you have Jack Driscoll. Somebody goes down. You have Cam Jurgens. You know what I'm saying? Like it's honestly disgusting. Is when you compare it to the last Carson Wentz season with how much depth this offensive line has. So it's like, dude, you don't need to run for your life. You don't need to be sitting in a clean pocket and then break free like you did last year, like it was collapsing when it never was.
Well, and that's going to be another. My bad, Ryan.
No, you're fine. No, you're fine. Go ahead.
No, that's going to be another thing too to watch Jalen closely this year as well, as we've noticed for these past 2 years, where Jalen doesn't look through his reads, and it was pretty obvious his first year, and then his this last year as well, where if his first read wasn't there, I'm going to take off. So that's a big thing to watch for this. To watch this year for him to see if he could develop into that passer and have the awareness of a good quarterback.
Getting to some of the comments real quick. I mean, so Bill chimes in. He says for Hurts,
TA, check it in.
Oh yeah, well, Tom. I would say Tom would.
I'm thinking he's on the side of agreeing with me that he has a few more concerns.
Which again, I'm shocked that so many people, both on the show and in the chat, disagree to it. So I don't know if that's more of a product of like the little by far thing I put in there.
I think it's the by far, but had it not been there, I would have agreed to it because as we all said, this is I forgot who said Nigel's comment.
This is Hurts' last evaluation.
Exactly. Year. So this is definitely a prove it year that is Jalen Hurts going to be the guy? I mean, from here on out, are we going to, what's there to see in 23 where it's like, all right, everybody's going to be talking about Bryce Young. I know we're not going to get Bryce Young, but, are we going to go quarterback hunting in 23? But this year, as Nigel said, this is the prove it year. Can he do it with the weapons? Can he do it with the O-line? Can he do it with the run game? Can he get it all together?
Well, Frank, let me answer that question. If we miss the playoffs somehow with this roster, you better believe we're going to be quarterback hunting next year.
Yep.
Playoffs.
I would no. I mean, and I hate to we have to see how we get to this point. Right. But to me, the biggest thing is I don't know why that went away. The biggest thing is because they made the playoffs last year. I feel like he needs to at least compete or if not win a playoff game for him to be back. And I know that's crazy to say for some people. Oh my God, you're making him. But it's you have to see improvement.
Let's put it this way. Agreed. Let's put it this way. If our defense is pretty darn good, let's say if we're a top 10 defense, okay? And say if, special teams is pretty good, everybody stays relatively healthy. I mean, damn, if we, if we're losing games 17-13 and it's number 2 turning the ball over and not putting it where it needs to go, then he's going to have a hard time finding his way back on this roster next year.
Well, this number 2 is now number 1, right?
I don't know what that means.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'm sorry. You're right. He does wear number 1. Yeah. Brain cramp.
Number 2, I'm like, last time I checked, Terry Slay wasn't the quarterback.
What's crazy, too, is I can see it now, right?
See it.
3 weeks in, say we're 0, we're 1-3 through week 4, right? We're 1-3.
And here comes Carson Strong.
Jimmy Garoppolo talks just start heating up for the Eagles.
Sound like me. Now you sound like me with the damn trade machine. Don't do that.
Jimmy G.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. First off, he's going to be a New York Giant. Let's put that away.
Oh, we got a Gardner already.
We have a Gardner, yeah,
and Carson Strong.
Yeah, I forgot. Carson Strong. Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I think this kid Hurts has a lot of good attributes. Yeah. He's good team player. he studies the game, willing to work hard. He's got a lot of intangibles, but the bottom line is, we need to see dramatic improvement in terms of, going through your progressions, going through your reads, and learning how to play the NFL quarterback position. And, do I expect this guy to be Aaron Rodgers? No, but
nobody. I don't think anybody
he's gonna
does.
have.
I don't think he does.
He's gonna have to have a good year for.
Absolutely. I don't think anyone's debating that. Like, I see Jimmy in here, he stinks and he's a backup, and it might all be true, but you don't have to be very good right this year with these weapons. Like, again, Howie did a really good job of constructing this roster on both sides of the football to where Jalen doesn't have to do too much.
Right.
He just has to take a marginal pressure off of him. If Jalen Hurts is average, we're a playoff team. Yeah. If not winning division, if he's average,
he was below
that's all
average.
He needs to be.
He was below average last year, and we were a playoff team. That's because
we were a playoff team.
Yes,
and we had so much less on that roster.
Well, part of that is we got to play, Jake from State Farm or whatever from Jake.
Hey, you
from
play who's on your schedule.
Giants.
That's not my problem.
You
play who's on your schedule.
You know what it is my problem though, and I'll say this, and I want to get to some of the comments.
Let's put it to this way: think of it this way, fellas. The early part of our schedule last year, the Falcon game aside, all right, when we got blown out by the Chiefs, all right, we got. Let's see. There were a couple other teams that manhandled us. Okay,
yeah, we had a 40-point burger. Yep,
the Raiders, exactly.
40 burgers.
So
I don't think the Chargers was pretty.
Think of it that way. Is Jalen Hurts if Jalen Hurts is at his best, is he competing? Is he able to win against those teams?
No,
is he able to beat good football teams?
I'll be fair.
Last year, no.
Yeah,
this year we don't know that yet.
Right. I will say this.
You look at that Chargers game. Jalen Hurts didn't lose the Chargers game.
No,
the defense couldn't make a stop.
I agree.
Yeah, they couldn't stop a nosebleed that game.
You couldn't stop me running the football, and I can't run.
I feel like they could have.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And that ended up being that game ended up just being who had the ball last. That's what that was.
Yeah.
And then part of that though is Nick Sirianni put Jalen Hurts in those first 5-6 games in a position to not succeed. We were throwing the ball 30, 40, 50, 70 times.
Right.
Yeah. No, I
remember there was no running game. And I credit Sirianni and the coaching staff for making those adjustments.
Remember the first 6 weeks of football for us? Miles Sanders went into half a couple of times with only like 3 rushing yards with like 2 carries.
Or 3 rushing attempts. 3 rushing attempts.
Yeah. Going into half. We used to be the laughing stock for like the first 7 weeks of the year. It was terrible.
There's a couple things I want before I forget, because the thing will delete after a while. But there's a couple things from early in the chat that I want to get to. Let's see here.
September 1st.
No,
they will make the playoffs. And yes, it was a great win.
If anybody's on Facebook, you know what we're talking about. If not, it's not that big of a deal. Pop Martinez, what's up, Pop? He says,
"What up, Pop?
Stick to running the ball to create play action. That's where I think Hurts can excel with our weapons. With the defense improved, my biggest concern is always health." I completely agree with that, Pop. I have believe it or not, and I'm not saying this is like a major concern. I have my concerns with the running back core. And also, I don't think we're going to see the same approach, at least with the running game, it's like, hey, this is a running first team. Because I think they really need to figure out what Jalen Hurts is. And we have far too many weapons to run the football as much as we did. Like, if our top receivers,
they're not going to run it fucking 60% of the time.
No. And that's not what and by no means do I think Pop is saying that. He's saying, hey, listen, you have weapons. The guy knows how to use his feet. There's some running backs that know how to use their feet if some of them are healthy. Let's just not forget what the strength of the football team was and build off of that. I'm 99% sure that's what Pop's saying, and I think we all agree with that.
Yeah.
Let's see. Julio, what's up, Julio? He says, disagree. Gannon is my main concern. He complained about not having the players to do what he wanted. how he got those pieces, and I'm praying Gallen doesn't do the vanilla crappy defense. You and I think all of us both, Julio.
A missionary shit over and over.
So let's do the let's go ham with it. Let's go sloppy with whatever we want to do with that defense. I'm not going to drop a reference in there, but you know where I'm going to go with it. You know, when we're talking about missionary, but you know where I'm going to go.
You know where I'm going to go.
Where are you going to go?
Well, finish your thought.
But you know, I think what Gannon has in play, you know, if we're going to see a lot of those hybrid defensive schemes, you know, I'm all for it. Let's just see how it all plays out. So,
I'm going to go to Wayne's comment, which kind of goes to your response. Also, he says, by far changes my answer because my other concern is Gannon. And are we changing our defensive front scheme 3-4-4-3? So I disagree. According to Gannon, it's going to be a little bit of everything, which I say, okay, great. Just don't get too cute for your own good. Like, okay, last year was the vanilla. Now you're going to do like, vanilla, chocolate, strawberry, peanut butter. Like we're doing every flavor in the book now. You know what I'm saying? Like we know the guy's strengths and put him to that. Like let's
exactly.
Like you have,
and I think with the current D line that we have, I think it is possible we can play to those strengths a lot better than we did last year.
I also
with with the addition of Reddick, we should be able to get after the passer a lot more.
Yeah,
we got to be able to rush the passer.
I do.
Love the reference.
I didn't see it. Oh yeah, I see that at the bottom. Julio also says, if they aren't anywhere near a top 5 defense, Gannon needs to go. And it's an interesting thing with Jonathan Gannon, right? Like in the grand scheme of things, I don't want to say it's meaningless, but in comparison to like the fate of Jalen Hurts, Nick Sirianni, some of the weapons, like it kind of gets lost. But this is a gigantic year for what is Jonathan Gannon because before he came here, he was he was highly touted, right? He got other interviews as defensive coordinator. He comes here. Then it seems like this was like 3 years ago, but there was a very good chance this past offseason he was going to be hired as an NFL head coach. The Texans were looking at him. I think he had 2 other. I think the Vikings was one, and I believe there was another team. So he's clearly looked at in a very high regard as, hey, this is a young NFL mind, at least on the defensive side of the ball, to where we're not even just going to give him an interview, multiple interviews. I think he got to the final stages for the Texans. So this is a kind of a weird year where you could look at it where either way, either side of it, Jonathan Gannon is gone. If he sucks, he's probably gone because, listen, you don't have the excuse of not having talent, right? And if they are, to Julio's point and all of our points, top 7, top 5 defense, playoff team, we get a playoff win, he's probably going in, but to be a head coach.
Right.
So it's kind of weird. And tell me if you guys disagree with this, but there's a lot of avenues where on both sides, Jonathan Gannon is not a part of this organization in 12 months.
I think it's fair to say. No, absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't think he's the only coaching person on the hot. I don't want to say hot seat, but again, this is another big year for Sirianni, right? Because you saw the change that he did last year. We just talked about it. So how does he go into year 2? Right? Does he go into year 2 still doing the same things and succeeding, or does he go into the year 2 doing the same things and finding himself having to make adjustments again, right? And then absolutely with that, around. I mean, the NFL, especially on the coaching side point, there's always turnover, right? It's very rare that you see a group of coordinators and head coaches stay together for an extended period of time.
Well, it's funny, too, like the Nick Sirianni thing. And by no means do I think he should be the main storyline of this offseason. So I get why he's not. But nobody's talking about, hey, do we know what this guy is? Like, second-year guy. He was basically getting booed out of town through 6 games. He was talking about flowers. People were literally throwing fake flowers at him on the field. And then he didn't continue calling plays. He gave it to Shane Steichen. And then Shane Steichen took over And they had that revitalization because they did the exact opposite of what Nick Sirianni wanted to do in the first half of the year. So, like, I'm not saying I think Nick Sirianni sucks. I don't know what to think of him because from everything he said, like, this isn't my guess. This is what he said so far this offseason. Shane Steichen's going to call the plays. Mm-hmm. So, okay, you're not calling the offensive plays. You're not the first head coach not to do it. Based off of what you did in the first 6 games, I would probably prefer that, right? You're kind of a rah-rah guy with, like, T-shirts. You're clearly in your element. I could tell, like, he's a smart football guy, but I feel like a lot of people are kind of just like, oh, yeah, Nick's fine. And maybe he is. I'm not saying he's not. He's, like, 7th on my list of, like, worries, but it's weird
I think
how a second-year guy is not even being talked about right now.
I think a lot of that is because we very rarely see coaches at the highest level, whether they say it verbally or whether they say it with their actions, admit that they're wrong and try something different.
Okay.
Right? I mean, through 6 games, you're right. We didn't want anything to do with the guy.
He was going to get fired.
Right? He was on the hot seat for everybody.
Yes.
But then through his actions, because I don't ever, and probably because I don't pay that close attention to pressures, but I don't ever remember him saying I'm giving it up or a whole bunch of thing around that. But he did.
Oh, yeah, he found out about that a couple months ago. He said that.
And the offense changed. Yeah. Right? So when you see that happen at the highest level of your organization, right, and it trickles down to good play, then you make the playoffs in year 1 with a project quarterback, we'll call him, right? You know what I mean? Like, has some things that he does well, has some things we would like to improve on, but, did enough and with the change of offense to get us there. And I think because of all that, you're sitting there and he's not that topic of conversation because there's no ego there that he's not going to be able to get over himself for the better of the team.
Yeah, it's something that, and again, like, it's blurry, especially from that offseason. Like, I hate even reliving it, but the last year of Doug, right? And we don't need to go into why he was checked out and who quit on who. Like, we know who. I think we all understand what truly happened there. But I think a lot of the discussions before he was ultimately fired, even though I think he fired them, not the other way around, was like, hey, would we be okay with Doug coming back, but him relinquishing the play calls? Like, I feel like that was a big discussion in his final year. Mm-hmm. And it came down to it. And I think he was even asked about it in a presser. And this is where it's kind of like, oh, Doug's kind of, I don't want to use the word ego because he was a Super Bowl winning head coach with a backup quarterback. Like, you're going to have an ego. You're going to write a book. But he kind of scoffed at the idea of, like, relinquishing play calling duties.
Yeah, I mean, you hear different, scenarios of that, right? And it's either that side of it or it's, wanted a little bit more say in the player, player selection and player development, right? Wanted to see at the table, whether he, earned that or not, right? You know what I mean? And that's, so yeah, that's the other side of it too, because you're right. We did go through spurts, even during the, I don't know, we were 12-4, so, and Carson an MVP year, so we didn't say much during the really good year, right? But there was other times throughout the other 4 years where we all questioned Doug's play calling and his ability to do so, right? And so, yeah, I mean, absolutely, potentially was a topic. I think it was more, though, what else do I need to do to get a seat at the table? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a good point. I do want to get to this question really quick, and I'm sure, Wayne, over the next handful of weeks, like, if you ask us this next week, we might have a different answer, right? Like, it, and I think we can all agree, like, we're not training camp guys, like, not to scoff at it. Like, I personally hate that when, like, people are like, oh, you can't look at training camp. Like, people enjoy it, let them enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? Like, we all enjoy it. Like, people laugh at me like I like the trade machine. You know what I'm saying? But people enjoy the trade machine. People laugh at Greg and I because we like golf. We like golf. You know what I'm saying? People, I laugh at Chuck because he goes crazy about training camp. He likes training camp. So let him live in there. But with that being said, I laugh at people who like training camp. Like, I hate the tweets. Like, you know what I'm saying?
There's nothing wrong with, like, I do like to see the development of our players, but like where it's when it starts to getting like tracking stats and going 4-0 in practice games, like that's where it draws the line for me, where it's like, okay, now it's a little too ridiculous.
Yeah,
Like just watch the
I was going to
development,
say,
get
fellas,
your observations.
you a training camp guy? Right?
fellas, training camp's a lot different now than what I remember from the Lehigh days.
Oh,
Wait,
there's
they
no
don't even
question.
tackle anymore. They don't even
Right.
tackle anymore. No, they have 15-minute practices with bubble wrap on their head. It's a little bit different now.
Yeah, I think I was
Say
for
the
some
least.
reason listening to
Well, this
Dialed,
is-
and I think over 5 days of practice, they've had 7 hours of actual practice.
Yeah, it's a little different.
Well, this is what
they used
I'm
to go 7
wondering,
hours a day
fellas.
at Lehigh.
Go ahead, Noah. Go ahead.
This is what I'm wondering, though. You know, and I get it. Every NFL team, and I know the science is out there, and there's reasons why they're doing this. You know, and the science that backs it up. You know, every team is headed more towards, player safety and all this, which is all well and good, but you got to practice to play football.
We talking practice?
You got to practice. Like,
We talking
practice football, practice tackling. And while maybe they don't need to do what they did back in the 1960s, Vince Lombardi camp, where there was the Packers weren't allowed to drink water, and they had Oklahoma drills, and they hit for 12 hours a day. All right, maybe not to that, but damn it, it's football. And I think part of why the product is a little on the shitty side the first 4 to 6 weeks of the season, and you see a lot of missed tackles, and oh, by the way, you see guys getting hurt, okay, because they're not ready for the rigors of the NFL season, especially in September and October.
Creatures of
And
habit.
it seems,
You got to get you got to reactivate. It's like the muscle memory. You can't reactivate.
right.
It.
You
have no.
you got to
in-game
acclimate
action.
your body to playing football again, and it seems like with these
you're spot on.
with these practices and shorts and t-shirts, that's not the same thing. I'm sorry, it's just not.
To answer,
No, absolutely. And then you look at you lose a preseason game, and then even losing the preseason game, how many of your actual stars and starters, probably only your fringe starters, are going to play in any of the preseason games.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're right. You're going to go into week 1 not having taken a hit. And I completely agree. No, don't have to go back all the way back old school, but you could have one day a week where you need to hit. I think that's so big. I mean, Robert Saleh came out with. They need
to find a happy medium.
Yeah, Robert Saleh came out with the sensors that the guys are wearing, and it's almost giving them a false sense of protection, because now they're leaning with their heads and it's because they don't tackle and they don't hit. They're you get into bad habits, and
that's how you can get hurt.
Yep.
Two things.
Go ahead.
Two things really quick now. One, Harlem Cowboy. I have not seen you in this chat in about 2 years, so good to see.
I know.
Good to see.
Back. We missed you.
I guess it's been a couple rough years for the Cowboys, so I understand. Not that it's been much better here, but good to see you. The second thing is to Wayne's question, because I don't want to forget it. Biggest surprise player to not make the team besides Rager? I would still go to probably one of the receivers, maybe Hightower, maybe Huntley. But I don't necessarily I saw somebody say Carson Strong might not make the team. I guess that's a surprise, but it's probably not, because the kid was an undrafted guy.
Right.
So
a guy who was supposed to be projected to even be at one point. Carson Strong was considered to be a first-round quarterback, and then going undrafted.
Yeah, well, that's because he has no cartilage in his knees. I mean, his knees,
exactly.
It's all arms, no knees.
Exactly.
But I would go Hightower, to be honest.
See, I haven't really. See, usually I should be following what goes on in training camp.
His first at bat in San Diego is a walk.
Oh, really? Is that on ESPN, Greg?
No. Drury hit a home run, though, in his first at bat.
I mean, outside of
They're not on MLB. The
Are they
Dodgers
really?
are on MLB.
Yeah, I've got them on.
I honestly don't know, actually. I mean, the only other name I could think of would be like Britton Covey. I know I know a lot of people are very high on him. See how it pays off. If he doesn't make it, what's going on? Maybe they'll bring him back at some point. But I'm gonna go with Britton Covey on this one, just because of how high people had regards on him. But that I mean, it's still preseason.
I don't even know who that guy is.
It's a little receiver, little guy.
Oh,
Supposed to be like the special teams guy for us.
A roster bubble guy, right?
To answer Wayne's question, I don't think he's going to get cut, but I could potentially see him being moved. A guy like Andre Dillard. So I don't think he
gets hurt.
Yeah, I don't think he necessarily gets cut because I think the Eagles would be stupid to cut him.
Yeah,
right.
But I think through training camp and the fruition that goes on with there, or the attrition that goes on with there just throughout the league, I think the Eagles have a really good piece that they can potentially sell really high on and stuff like that. So that's where I'll go. Like I said, he makes the team. I just think he potentially gets traded.
Bill had said a little bit earlier.
Thanks, Julio.
Thank you, Julio, by the way. He said, I have seen enough throws last year to see if he, meaning Jalen, just slows his game down and reads the field better, we'll be fine. And that could be the case. Like, listen, I'm going to give him – I hope I'm wrong about Jalen Hurts. It would make our lives way easier because, A, we don't have to do the whole quarterback discussion for another offseason. Like, that'll be awful. And two, we can use those draft picks and future assets on things to help make him better. But I don't know. Like, I think at the end of the day, and I'll add this, and then I have a couple other Eagles questions before we get to Phillies.
Yes.
It just ends. The discussion with Jalen Hurts to me ends with, do you have confidence that he can be the quarterback of a team that goes on a playoff run? Okay, like you can make the playoffs. There's like what, 7 playoff spots now. Like you can make you've seen you can suck for half the season, not know how to throw the football, get hurt, have Gardner Minshew, have like the worst, like most missionary defense ever, and still make the playoffs. Like that happened, right? That was our reality. I am not interested in that anymore, nor do I think anybody is. Like, can you currently constructed with on paper an above average defense, on paper an above average offense, good offensive line, actually great offensive line, not any egregious holes, can you go on a playoff run? And to me, if you get in a quarterback battle, which I completely understand for everyone who says it's more than a quarterback versus quarterback thing, but if you are looking at the other side of the field and you see Rodgers, if you see, I don't know, we could do the Brady thing again since we know how that ended last year. I don't know how, if you saw the Cowboys, I mean, Dak Prescott, I don't love Dak Prescott, but he's way better than Jalen Hurts. Like, I hate the Cowboys, but we all would agree with that. And then I'm not even getting to the AFC. Herbert, Mahomes, Allen, Russell Wilson. Like I can keep going. Matt Ryan with the Colts. Like I can keep going and going and going and saying, if you are getting in battles with these people, I don't know how you win unless you have like a 2015 Broncos defense when Peyton Manning had one arm. But I'm happy with our defense, but I'm not willing to say.
Yeah, I mean, I think it all comes down to, obviously the matchup, right? But it also comes down to how you're playing, that time of the year, right? You know what I mean? Like,
Bill, I disagree with that. Bill, I understand what you're saying. Like, listen, Foles, in grand retrospect, he's a backup quarterback. He's a journeyman quarterback. But Nick
Foles captured lightning in a bottle.
He had the greatest, 8 quarters of football we will ever see.
Yep.
Like, that wasn't Nick Foles. That was Jesus with a helmet. So, it should be like, if Jesus with the helmet could do it, Jalen Hurts can do it. And if that was the statement, I would strongly disagree with Jesus with a helmet. Like, that was not Nick Foles. I know what Nick Foles is. He's not that guy. Like, I love Nick, but like, if you put gun to my head, is Nick Foles closer to the Vikings and Patriots game, or is he closer to what he was in Jacksonville and a majority of, his Eagles career, I would say he's more of the latter. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I get the sentiment. If
Well,
a backup
actually, the
quarterback
majority of his Eagles career, he was pretty damn good. It's everywhere else where he sucked.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. And like, I'm not trying to
you
do
got
like
to
a Nick Foles
remember he was
bashing in
pretty good. He
2022.
was pretty good when Chip was here too.
Yeah.
He was, yeah.
What, 27-2, something like that?
Yep.
Yeah.
And he got traded.
But
And
again,
then he got cut on an episode of Hard Knocks. So
that was in 2013. Like, it's been a minute, right? Was that 2013 or 2014?
14.
Foles going 27-2. I think that was 5th.
No, 15
No,
was the
15 was
14 was
It was
Bradford.
No, 13.
15 was
13 was
Okay,
13
yeah,
was
so
27-2.
It's been a minute.
Yeah.
What's up,
Like, it's-
Brian? I'm alive and well, buddy.
Oh, 14.
How you
Was
doing?
it 14?
Thank you, Wills. Andrew Baker says that if the top quarterbacks we face is Aaron Rodgers, Dak Prescott, Matt Ryan, Kyler Murray, Ryan Tannehill, Kirk Cousins, this schedule is favorable. I agree. And that's also good for our Jonathan Gannon worry that, he didn't really play any good quarterbacks.
13.
Well, that's kind of going to be the case again, right? Like, as long as you don't mix in like a 2017 resurgence Carson Wentz in here, like, yeah, that's okay. Like, that's fine. Like, seeing Daniel Jones twice a year, that's cool. I can deal with that.
Yeah.
And some of the other bad quarterbacks that we'll see, but it's when it truly matters. And he's not the only quarterback, mind you, that fits this bill. A lot of people think Dak Prescott fits this bill. Some Cowboys fans, where he's a very good regular season quarterback, but he's not good enough to go nuts in the playoffs, which again, there's more, there's less guys that can do that than more, right? But if we're still trying to talk about, hey, can we win a Super Bowl here? He's got to show us a lot more than what we've seen, especially with the weapons he has both on the offense side of the ball and the defensive side of the ball, which can absolutely help him because he might not have to score 34 points a game. Just average more than 17.
Sure. I mean, look at a comparison to another young kid in this city, right? You go to Tyrese Maxey, right? Look at the jump that he made from year 1-2, right? We would probably both compare Maxey and Hurts intangibles probably pretty close to each other, right? Their
work ethic.
Their work
No
ethic, their
question.
moxie, right? Their confidence in themselves, their team, team oriented, parts of their game, right? We would consider them pretty similar off the field together.
Yes.
Right. And Tyrese Maxey made a huge jump because he worked. Right. One thing we know about Jalen Hurts is he's going to work. Right. And so, right. Can they go on a run and that leads to a Super Bowl? We can't say that right now. Right. Because we haven't seen that jump yet. We haven't seen that progression. If it's there, it very well might not be there.
We haven't seen him go left yet. Like, we haven't seen him go left.
That's true too, right? But if he,
Greg, to your point,
that's what kind of made the Sixers season, even though it was kind of a disappointment, somewhat of a positive because you saw a jump from Tyrese.
Yeah,
you saw a monumental jump from him. If we can get half of that from a guy that we know the intangibles are the same, right, inside of themselves, they're both pretty wired the same. You would hope to think that he's going to make – I'm not going to sit here and say he's going to make a monumental jump because that's just not fair to him, right? But I think there's a jump coming. I think there's progression coming.
Well, I will say real quick before you go, Noah, like, it's funny
Yeah,
you bring that up because – and I actually think he does a solid job on the air, so like I'm not trying to crush him, but John Kincaid, like 3 weeks ago, he said on his show that he believes we're going to see a Tyrese Maxey-like jump from Jalen Hurts. And, like, I don't know if he was just, like, in a good mood that morning, but it's like, dude, number one, like, I think that's extremely unfair when you actually look at the jump that Tyrese Maxey made. And two, if you're expecting that, if that's happening, we're in the freaking place that begins with an S and ends in a bowl. Like, if you get a Tyrese Maxey jump, and listen, I'm an Eagles fan, I'll always be. I don't expect to be in the place with an S and ends in a bowl. So, like, to say in freaking July, August, I think we're going to get a Tyrese Maxey jump, I guess you think we're in the Super Bowl. Because if we get that, I'm thinking
if he takes that jump,
I have tickets, dude.
Yeah. Amazing.
Do we not forget this? I do have tickets. So.
Oh yeah, no, so we're screwed. That's why I don't even know why we're talking Eagles. Like it's over. Like the dream's dead. Like it's done. But it's like if we're talking
Hey, for shits and giggles, where are they playing the Super Bowl?
Arizona.
Yeah, Arizona this year.
It's the same weekend as the Waste Management. Oh, that would be a whole heck of that would be a fun weekend.
I might dabble, if you know what I mean, Greg. I might.
I might be there too.
Yeah, I figured you would be.
Gonna be drinking beers at the 16th hole there.
Oh yeah.
I'll give Greg the alcohol and I'll go.
Look, I'll say this: if Jalen Hurts plays slightly above average, we should have no problem winning. This team is constructed.
What just happened?
I don't know.
We all moved. Did we all just move?
You know what did with Ralph?
Hand check.
What the hell? That's not me.
Did anybody see that?
My whole screen went black, and then all of a sudden I moved, and then I'm back. Now I'm back.
Yeah. Noah was about to say something, and my internet like froze for like one moment, and then everybody got shuffled around.
Yeah.
Noah, continue before the matrix.
All right, so I'll repeat what I said just in case the great people out there didn't hear this.
Yes.
If Jalen Hurts plays slightly above average, we should have no problem winning the NFC East with the way our team is currently constructed. I really believe that. I'm not saying, wow, what the hell is going on with your internet, Frank?
Dude, what is going on?
Damn, Frank.
This thing's friggin' haunted, dude.
But no, I completely agree with you.
I agree. No, it's a great point. I'm just scared to death because I feel like we're getting haunted right now.
Yeah.
You know what the problem is? We talked about Nick Foles and the ghost of Nick Foles, and I brought up like Jesus with a helmet, and all of a sudden now we're friggin'
Now we need to I think we need to have a church service or something.
Nah, you can get the Bible. I'm friggin'.
I got my Bible ready to go.
You can get the Bible. If it happens again, I'm just closing the screen and running. I'll just do that.
I'll get my holy water ready. I'll get the preacher outfit ready. Well,
the last time you did that, Frank, was in the middle of the Sixers Game 5 collapse against the Hawks. So I don't know if that would be a good thing.
Yeah.
Harlem Cowboy. I think Dallas has something to say about what? They always have something to say about something, Harlem Cowboy.
Yeah.
So please elaborate.
I'm sure. No, I'm sure he's talking about Eagles winning the NFC East.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, for me with the NFC East, I think it's going to be a 2-team race. It's going to be us and the Cowboys. I mean, I'm not worried about the Giants.
I disagree.
Really?
I disagree. Yeah, I have a weird feeling.
I mean,
you think the Giants
I do understand that weird feeling.
No, Daniel Jones sucks. No, Daniel Jones sucks. No.
Yeah.
I think Washington might. I feel like they could be okay.
I do have the same sense.
I cannot wait until Carson comes back. No, I cannot wait until Carson comes back.
I don't think
it's going to be great. It's going to be great.
Carson means nothing to me, so like I'm not trying to turn it into like Carson. But unfortunately, he's in the division now, so like we have to worry about him.
Hey Don.
Hey Don. It's probably you, Don. Don, once you got in the chat, the stream started getting possessed. You and the friggin' Lions mojo over there.
They're on Hard Knocks this year.
That'll be fun.
We get to see Dan Campbell biting people live on TV.
They were really relevant, and they were in a lot of one-score games the last couple of years. Washington, with terrible quarterback play, terrible.
Mm-hmm.
If like Carson, obviously he had his moments last year in Indianapolis where he was terrible and he coughed the game away, and he's still going to have that. But if he kind of replicates overall what he was in Indianapolis with a really good defense, in my opinion, a good head coach, and some weapons finally in his career, wide receiver, that is. But Terry McLaurin's by far the best wide receiver he's ever had in his career. And that's no disrespect to 2017 Alshon. 2017 Alshon was awesome. But if he can actually get out of his way for 30 seconds, I feel like Washington could be interesting in the later parts of the season. I'm not saying I don't think they're winning the division, but I don't think they're going to be like a 5-win football team either. Mr. Wing says, agree, Ryan. I think Wentz and Washington are a 10-win team. I might not be there with you, but closer to that than 5.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of do see Washington play spoiler here and there, but right now, the way I see it, I still think it's going to be us and Dallas. But
Dallas
I feel like
early this year again, don't we?
Yep.
I think it's like week 2 or week 3.
Yeah. But I feel like it's going to be another one of those years.
Hence why I wish we were hitting more in training camp.
Mm-hmm. But I feel like it's going to be another one of those years where we do hype up the Eagles and the Cowboys, either going for the division, and then somebody's going to be like, oh, and then Washington and New York somehow just shows up and wins the division. I feel like it's going to be one of those years.
Ralphie, I say when you brought up the schedule, I said to myself, I don't know what the schedule is. Not remembering that literally my iPhone wallpaper is the damn schedule. So it's like right. So to answer your question, we have Washington week 3. We have Dallas week 6.
That's what it is, 6.
Molly, you're I was going to ask if you're a Dallas fan, but I looked in 2 seconds at your profile picture and realized, hey, you have a Dallas picture on there. He says both Philly and Dallas winning 10-plus games. It will come down to head-to-head matchups.
Which usually it does, right? When it usually does between us two.
Harlem Cowboys says Philly has some new players, same coach, same soft coaches and system. Don't forget.
I love this time of year. Let this shit talk begin.
Harlem, I know you said you were around last season. I might have been off that week. Let me just say it's good to have you back because I missed these absolutely crummish comments from you, and it's good to have you back. Blue City Empire Sports. It's good. Like we have like representatives of each fan base in here. What about the New York Football Giants? Well, come back to me when you have Jimmy Garoppolo. I feel like Jimmy Garoppolo should be your quarterback right now, but by all means, Daniel Jones, we're big fans of Daniel, and I hope he falls 5 feet before the end zone again like he did a couple years ago. And yes, I know you're typing right now, oh, guys, what about the time we beat you last year? I understand. I like to forget those moments too.
Right.
The only hesitation I'll give that is Brian Daboll has been able to work with some quarterbacks. I'm not saying Daniel Jones is going to be anything great, but we also kind of probably have to let this see that a little bit.
Oh yeah, no, I think
Brian
Daboll
has a good track record with quarterbacks.
To all those Giants fans out there,
and it's not Jason Garrett calling plays, right?
We would have swept you if Jalen Reagor didn't drop that fucking ball on the goal line.
Yep.
Which
that was probably the one good pass
that Jalen had all year. One
Hurts
fucking deep ball Jalen put on the money. Literally a money ball Jalen had all year long, and fucking Reagor drops it. Oh my God.
Yep.
That's a perfect transition because Don brings up his prediction for week 1 against his Lions. He says,
"Oh my God,
Jalen Reagor will drop a game-winning touchdown in week 1 and the Lions win the game." If that happens, Don,
he might get cut.
If that, now first off, Don, I think you're wrong just because if he's on the freaking field, if he's in uniform, I might go nuts.
Well, with that happening, that would be the second worst thing that happened on my birthday. My God.
J-Jaw dropped a touchdown at the end of the game against Detroit in the end zone.
Yep.
Yep.
Good times. Good times.
Right at the goal line. If he caught it, all he had to do was just reach.
Hit him in the wrist too.
Yep.
Pretty much.
Right there.
Don, let me just tell you
I watched that game down at a bar in Florida.
Did you get kicked out of the bar after you saw that?
That's why he hasn't been back to Florida.
Is that why you haven't been in the state of Florida since?
He got kicked out of the bar.
They were loving me though down there.
I'm sure they were. I'm sure there's some videos that have yet to surface. Throwing tables after that play, Noah? Were you throwing tables?
The owner of the bar came up to me and said, "Man, I'm glad you came in." He said, "I'm glad you came in. You brought the 700 level to Naples."
That sounds about right. I would say that's probably a factual statement. Let me see. Blue City Sports. Respect, sir. Respect. I partially take back my remarks about your Giants, even though I kind of don't, but we'll pretend. He says first place Philadelphia, second place Cowboys, Third place, football Giants. Fourth place, Washington. That's fine. Cool.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
That's fine. Julio says, don't talk bad about our next tight end, J-Jaw. He might be the answer to the question from Wayne earlier.
gosh.
He might be a camp cut just because.
Right.
It's never a good thing when you're switching positions.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, third year in, fourth year in, whatever it is for him.
Mm-hmm.
He's already switching positions. Well, they just might keep him because he's a good blocker. You know what I
Oh, my
mean?
God.
Yeah, that's why we took
The
him in
nerds
second
might
round.
soak
DK
him up.
Metcalf.
You
Correct me
know,
if I'm
the
wrong.
nerds be like, wow, we run his side 76% of the time. He gets the block going.
Didn't we
The
drift
nerds
him
love
over?
those numbers.
Didn't we drift him over AJ Brown? Like I know we have him now, so it's like,
it was both over AJ Brown and DK Metcalf.
well, I knew that. Yeah.
Yeah.
God.
Now we have them on both the same team. We're
Yeah,
just missing
that's
the other
crazy.
guy.
Yeah.
No, you're right near Wayne when you're down in Naples.
Yeah, he probably heard
Oh.
you. He was like, "Oh, is that Noah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's that ruckus over there? Oh no, it's just Noah." Does that sound about right?
Yeah. Yeah, Wayne, I was down there. I was down there for Thanksgiving, man.
Family fun down there watching J Jaw drop past.
Good times.
This is the season for that. I want to read you this, like to get back to like the biggest concern thing before we switch to the Phillies. So I made a list of 4. Okay, tell me if you guys agree with this, or if you would add somebody in this. From 1 to 4, and chat, give me your top 4 if you want. I have Jalen Hurts as my number 1 concern, Jonathan Gannon 2, Miles Sanders 3, and I have Brandon Graham 4. Just because, like, and I probably should have just put the edges on there because Barnett's a part of it. Only reason why I didn't is because I have no concern for Hassan Reddick. I really don't. And I get it. He might not be an edge. He might be a linebacker. He could play anything. So I'll just put him in.
This
that
might
category.
sound crazy. Is Barnett a shoe-in to make this team?
Yes, because he's familiar with the system and he's getting paid nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What was that? 2-year deal in the offseason, right?
Yeah.
It's really a 1 year because I think
Right.
I think
there's an
opt-out
option.
clause.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a team.
That
option.
sounds like anything but a shoe-in, but I hear you. Like,
Who's
he's not a
replacing
lock,
him,
though.
No. I mean, no, he's not a lock.
I
If the
mean,
guy
I
has
don't think
7
he's a
penalties,
lock
no.
to make this team.
Yeah.
Who would replace him though? Is my only question. Like to me, they got him as insurance for Brandon Graham.
No, I don't. I agree that we have nobody here currently on the roster that is able to replace him.
So
You know what I
why
mean?
would
But again, I mean, he just went all sides, I think, too.
oh no, listen, I hate,
Yeah.
I hate the freak. Yeah,
I was going to say, I think he's an offsides away from, or another personal foul penalty away from being cut.
Greg, there's nothing more than I hate on Eagles game days than watching us shoot ourselves in the foot. And the last couple of years, he has been the literal definition of that. So I hate I hate the player. Okay, I'm not gonna say I hate the man because I've never met him. But him as a football player, hate it. Okay, except for obviously 2017-18. Then you did some things. But my point is, if he's not getting paid much, and you don't have somebody immediately to replace him, I just feel like this might sound stupid, but it's like he's too irrelevant to cut. You know what I mean? Like, you basically know what you're getting from him, and you're not asking him to be a starter, which is good. Like, it's most likely going to be any alteration of Graham, Sweat, and Reddick on the edges.
Well, I'm not saying he'd be the first round of cuts, but
No.
depending on who possibly would become available, all of a sudden you might be looking at Barnett as being a little more expendable than we thought.
Okay, like I'll ask you guys this then to that question. And this is obviously saying all of them have like decent camps, okay? Nothing flashy, nothing terrible, just normal training camps where they just kind of coast. If these 3 names are on the roster bubble, tell me in order from 1 to 3 who's the most safe. I'll go Barnett, I'll go Rager, and I will go with trying to come up with a third one. Kayvon Wallace. Who's safest? Who's second
most
safest?
safe?
Who's most in danger? Yeah. Kayvon.
Barnett, Dawkins 2.0, Rager.
Yeah, it's that exact order for me as well.
I agree. You guys, Ralphie, you disagree with that?
No, I agree. I agree with your list. Your 1 through 4.
I only named 3.
The other list you came up with.
You just blacked out for the last like 30 seconds.
Yeah, I did, to be completely honest.
Fine. I'm like, I only named 3 guys. I named 4 like 10 minutes.
Well, no,
ago.
I thought your first list was before. What was your second list?
It's fine. You took a trip somewhere.
Oh, okay.
It's fine. You didn't. You missed it.
You went and visit your buddy Goldberg for a little bit.
He was checking the Lakers depth chart to see if they sign another 50-year-old. It's fine.
Yeah.
I said if these 3 guys are on the roster bubble, rank them from safest to most in danger. Rager, Barnett, and who was the third I named? Kayvon Wallace.
Safest to danger?
Yes.
Mine would be Rager, Barnett, Wallace.
So you think Rager's the safest?
Just because I think because he was that first round pick, I don't think Howie and them would be able to let him go like that, if that makes sense. Just because he was he was that first round pick. Maybe if he was like a second or a third,
if he keeps it up on social media, he maybe find himself out of a job.
That's a good point. What's up, Don?
Yeah.
And then Bobby DeGrecchio chimes in very simply. Jalen Hurts effing blows. Thank you, Bobby. Appreciate you. Good to hear from you.
Bobby.
You guys have any and fam, if you have any last second Eagles questions or NFL questions, and you're just joining us, by all means you can chime in. We can circle back. But we're only gonna go like 2 hours tonight. We're an hour and 11 in. Quick reminder if you're just joining us for the first time or if you're catching us, once again. I would imagine if you're catching us again, you already hit that like button and that subscribe button. But if you didn't, it takes 2 seconds. It's free. And we really appreciate it. We'll leave the Eagles talk kind of on pause for a second. Again, if you guys have any questions, by all means.
Well, I do want to get back to Julio's question later, but
what did Julio say before
when he's visiting Philly, we need to give him some places to recommend.
Where did he? I'm sorry. Where did he? Oh, this
Jim's on South Street. Oh, too soon.
Yeah, well, that turned down. Too soon.
I mean, unless you're coming here in like 3 years and it's back. Damn you, Greg. Damn it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Damn it. Heading to Philly for the first time ever to watch it. Shout out to Jim's. Good luck over there.
Yeah.
Greg doesn't share my sentiment.
I'll go donate to the GoFundMe for being an asshole.
Yeah, donate to the GoFundMe. Yeah, it's great. And then while you're at it, go to our friends over at Gleason's Bar.
Okay. Oh, wow.
Ralphie,
what a great segue.
Ralphie, when I hit them up in a couple of weeks, you coming?
Yeah, I'll come.
All right.
I'll come.
Jim's or Gleason's?
When are you going? I live right there.
I'll let you know.
All right, I'll buy you guys beers.
Oh yeah, Ralphie will definitely take advantage of that.
Yeah, let me tell you,
heavy with the drinks, Ralphie. Yeah, heavy,
big drinker over here.
And as he's heavy with the drinks, he can use the promo code A2D for 10% off all those.
Definitely got to get to Gleason's.
All the boozing that Ralphie likes to partake in. Just use the. You can use it with your order whenever you dine in, take out, or if you're online. It's probably good for Ralphie to do. The drinking at home. It's within the corridors of his home. By the Gordon Bombay / Goldberg jersey. But you just got to use Gleason's Bar and Steaks.com for any online ordering. Wayne says, damn, no, I lived in Levittown as a kid. Too weird. You two are following each other. First with
now they're neighbors down in Florida.
Yep.
Yeah. I was only in Naples for a few days there, Wayne.
Blue City Empire Sports says, are you guys going to live stream the NFL Hall of Fame game? When is that and what day?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
I would guess Pro Fan Talk and Birds of a Feather would at least
Who is it? Jacksonville and the Raiders, right? For tomorrow?
I believe so. That's tomorrow already.
It is.
Speaking of the Raiders,
it's not on cable TV.
No, it is.
No,
it is the Hall of Fame game. I think it's like on NBC.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Did you guys see
because next week is the Eagles, isn't it? The 13th.
It is.
Is it
Yeah.
really? That is nuts. Damn.
Did you guys see the post that Devontae Adams put out there when Hunter Renfrow ordered
with the Uber?
X?
With the Uber?
No,
He ordered like the smallest fucking Uber.
It's Derek Carr, Devontae Adams, Renfrow, and some other guy, and he orders an Uber X. Is that who it was?
Yep, yeah.
He orders an Uber X. Devontae Adams in the back, like, dude, your Uber privileges are gone. They just signed a multi-million-dollar deal. Like, dude's far from Uber X instead of an Uber XL. It was just funny to see.
That's right. They should show Henry Ruggs what Uber looks like.
You know why I'm upset? You know why I'm upset?
Piece of shit.
It has nothing to do with what Noah said. I'm upset because I was going to say the same thing as Noah. And does that mean I'm deteriorating as a person? That I was going to say the same thing as Noah? That Noah and I were like, oh, I got this, buddy. We're right here. I was going to say, like, oh, it's good to know that the Raiders staff are using Uber now because I feel like they should have been for the last year. But Noah kind of handled that. And Noah, I agree with your sentiment.
Man, what the fuck?
I hear you. The Angry Bear, he says, if Hurts doesn't show the improvement we want, who do you want to replace him? Me, I'm taking Carson Strong.
Here we go.
Angry Bear, you talking this year or you talking like overall? Like
I don't know.
Really
Does it matter?
Yeah.
Does it matter?
I'm not getting into going forward.
If we come out and lose week 1 to Detroit, oh my God. And Jimmy G isn't traded by then? Oh my God.
What's with you and this Jimmy Garoppolo? Let him go to the Giants.
I'm telling you, dude, if the Eagles lose week 1 and Jimmy's still a 49er, it's just gonna
If you're gonna sign Jimmy G, you might as well keep Jalen, even if he does struggle. They're almost the same player.
And we have mustache mania, Ralphie. Yeah. What do you need to go to the friggin'?
It's probably going to be Minshew.
Is it because he was a GQ model? Do you like the smile?
Because he dates porn stars. Is that why? Because he dates porn stars.
Are you more of a GQ kind of guy instead of the mustache? It's fine. I'm not going to criticize.
Yeah,
I mean, look at that face. That seems GQ to me.
Does anyone
I don't know about that, Matthew. He's a winner. I mean, come on. I mean, let's not beat around the bush. The dude's winning.
He does somehow win games.
He was the real reason they won that playoff game against Green Bay.
He wins games,
It had nothing to do with a block punt.
It doesn't matter. I mean, they win games with him. Everyone does. It's weird because I agree. He's mediocre.
Dude, he's so mediocre.
But he wins games.
Greg, do me this favor. And I'm going to have you do it because I haven't had you go to the chart and read numbers yet. So I want to make sure I do that because I promised it. Go down to every 49ers playoff game the last 2 years, okay, that they've won.
He probably threw for 150 yards total combined.
Tell me the amount of times he's thrown the damn football.
He's on the Tannehill. He's on the Tannehill Express.
I'm not saying he's the reason they're winning. I'm just saying he wins games.
I mean, Tannehill might have the easiest job in the NFL right now. You just turn around and just
exist.
He turns around and hands it to my boy. So he turns it around and hands it to my boy Malik, and then he's like, all right, I'll go to the bench.
Yeah, I don't know if he was winning the games, especially as he was throwing it, off of Saints defenders' hands.
Well, I mean, everyone gives Peyton that second Super Bowl.
Did you just put Peyton Manning, even though he had one arm, in the same conversation as Jimmy G? Did you just do that?
He just
and it's me. Of course I did that.
Go to the damn numbers. Go to the numbers. I'm telling you. The guy threw it like 7 times. So, did he win those games, or did his running game, George Kittle, and his defense win the games? Or
someone's got to get the ball to George Kittle.
Or did Aaron Rodgers
or
lose
the block
games?
punt?
Yeah. Or did the Packers special teams and Aaron Rodgers lose those games?
By the way, I'd take Minshew and Strong over Garoppolo. So I'm not even into Garoppolo. I'm just saying the guy wins games.
Hold on.
All I'm saying is just prepare yourselves. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying because you know it's going to come. You know it's going to come this year if he's a 49er.
Did anyone just notice what we just did there? Or not what we did, what we just witnessed there? Greg went from putting Peyton Manning in the same conversation as Jimmy Garoppolo and vice versa. Then he followed that up with saying, I would rather have Carson Strong than him.
Jesus
We're really
Christ.
painting both sides of the spectrum, aren't we?
Oh, yeah.
So does that mean like Carson Strong is like the Mecca?
Sure. He probably could have won a Super Bowl with that defense. I mean, Brock Lobster.
There he is. I was gonna say. I was waiting for that guy to show up.
I mean, Brock Osweiler can win.
He's on
games with that
ESPN
team.
now.
Is
He's
he?
on ESPN now with the college football. Hell yeah.
I rest my damn case.
That dude stole so much money from teams. It's not even funny.
Good old Brock Lobster.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's something. I feel like he's still getting paid by the Texans. It's like
No, that's
yeah.
who is that? Oh, who's the other guy that's still getting paid?
It's not Deshaun
Chase
Watson.
Daniel.
Chase Daniel, yeah.
Oh
yeah.
my god.
Anyway.
He's paid backup quarterback.
If you guys have any last minute Eagles things, by all means. But the Phils, okay, I want to make sure we give them their due.
You know where I stand on this. Here we go.
Yeah, we know.
For the 20th time this stream.
Yes, and anybody on Facebook, you get the reference. If not, you're lucky. They made some moves, obviously. I don't need to recap and be like, oh, they gave up this for this, this for this. If you missed it, there's a Google search, okay? You got Syndergaard, you got Brandon Marsh, and you got the return of David Robertson. And then if you really wanted to go back, you got your sixth shortstop, Noah down. Noah down. I repeat, Noah down. You got your sixth shortstop a couple weeks ago. My question to you, and Ralphie, I'll start with you on this. Which acquisition was most exciting for you and why?
Well, when it happened, I mean, I'm gonna go Thor, man. I'm gonna go Thor. I'm gonna be the guy. I'm gonna go Thor, man. I'm about to buy the hammer, the cape, the outfit. Absolutely. I might get myself the wig. I'll be the fat Thor. There you go.
First time Ralphie's ever had hair.
Yep.
On top of his head. On top of his head.
Absolutely. I just think for him not being, the main guy, right? He doesn't have to be the ace or number 2, and he could be, the 3 or the 4 guy in our rotation. I think it's perfect. Yeah, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's perfect. I think it's a perfect
boost.
match. And I think Marsh too. Everybody's concerned about his whole entire swing stuff, but his defense is fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
And he's smart. He's not somebody who's going to stop rounding second base like O'Dummy.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, it's Thor, 100%.
Frank, your most exciting acquisition.
Most exciting? Well, can I go with the most exciting move for me?
Oh, yeah. Because
Getting rid of Familia and Odubel. Oh my gosh, it's a great sigh of relief.
Oh, happy
day. Bye-bye.
Exactly. I think those were. I mean, the Phillies overall, they did it. I mean, they did a great job.
That was addition by subtraction.
Yes, addition by subtraction.
But did you guys see her? Familia was such a great locker room guy.
Yeah.
And then he beat up his wife or something. So,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But
please, save him.
Please. He hasn't been the same since that one decent year in New York. But I think the move that with the trades that we made, the one that I like the most is bringing back David Robertson. The 2 seasons that we had him,
sucked.
As everybody says, shit happens, and of course, of all the times it happened when he was on the Phillies. But seeing him come back in a Phillies uniform and actually getting a save, it's great. Our bullpen got a lot better with
Tommy
Robertson.
Congrats! That looks like a new one.
But yeah, I think Robertson. That's the move I was very excited for.
You know what? Because you get kind of burnt when something like Robertson's things happens to you, right? As a team, right? You're like 7 innings over 2 years. You get kind of like butthurt, right? But the fact that he comes out and acknowledged it, and he's like, I feel bad. I really owe this city something. You know what I mean?
He took it personally.
Yeah, and so you're just kind of like, and then you saw the way his ball moved today. You're like, okay, we can be friends again. We can make up. It's okay.
He's back. It's okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's like he again, and I remember he felt guilty about it. I feel like he talked about this, a few months ago or before, the last season. And listen, like you guys, except for Greg and Noah, like in the A2D group chat, like my initial reaction, I put in there like the screenshot, and I just put, "Oh Christ," and that didn't mean like it was a bad thing. It was just like, "Oh my God, we're doing this again," type thing. But like for what the guy is, like if we're just going to remove, and it's very easy to remove his part one here because it was 35 seconds in total.
Right.
It's a very smart acquisition because the guy has a lot of experience where you're trying to get to in the playoffs, high leverage situations, which I kind of like Noah down part two. I kind of like what they're doing where they're not going to say, hey, he's our closer and or Sirianni's not our closer or hand. It's kind of like situations. Right. And both Robertson said it this afternoon and Hopper said it later that they need him for high leverage situations, which I think is appropriate. Like, okay, don't go missionary and just be like, this guy's got to be our 8th inning, our 7th inning, and our 9th. And it doesn't matter if they've sucked the last 3 weeks. He's our guy and we're going with it. Like, no. And they, like, perfect example. And I think this gets a little too analytical, but it worked today, so I'm not going to complain too much. He said that if Dansby Swanson was due up, it was going to be Brad Hand closing out the game. Like the reason why they took out Sirianni for one batter, it's because he had a better matchup. I believe it was against Austin Riley. Or no, it wasn't against their first baseman. Who's their first baseman?
Olsen.
It was better. It was a better matchup for Alvarado against Olsen.
Sure, lefty.
So I'm like, okay. I almost feel stupid saying this. Like, I feel like I should like slap myself in the face for even thinking it because it's so foreign. I am extremely comfortable with our bullpen. So much so, I feel like in situations, if it turns out to be what we think, it might be a strength of this ball club.
It absolutely is.
Hey, fellas,
sadly, it's our pitching staff as a whole right now.
Go ahead,
right?
Noah.
Through the second half of the year, or since Girardi was fired, you see the starting rotation going deeper into games, and because of that, you don't have as much taxing innings on the bullpen. Right? Yep. You're down to. Give me 9 outs instead of give me 12, right? Give me 6 instead of 15. You know what I mean? And that's a lot easier for them to handle. And I agree, Rye. There's going to be situations. I think you still will, see.
Me too, Sweeps.
Yeah.
I don't know where they are. Yeah, they did nothing. Shame on
by the way, Brandon Drury hit a grand slam.
Yeah, Drury grand slams first at bat.
Yep.
Ralphie, did you just call it a grand slam?
Yeah, grand slam.
No, you sound like you said gram slam, like the old
Gram slam.
Go on, Greg. I'm sorry.
I think part of why they've been so improved is they have had roles, even though there's been times where Brad Hand has in the bullpen, where it's not just always been Sirianni closing. There has been other times, right? But that.
I don't know what the hell's going on, man.
I don't know. We got some shuffling going on. Let's this. There we go.
Yeah. So yes, I agree. There will be some different scenarios in the 9th inning, but it will still be somewhat a role defined person there. But to your point, high leverage situation like today where they use Sirianni. Well, thank God now we got David Robertson back there, right? Or you have who's done it in the past, right? Knievel's been throwing really well since he moved out. So,
I mean, the combination of Alvarado, Knievel, because Alvarado, Cutter Alvarado has been solid.
Yes.
And he still has the speed, obviously, but he's not relying on that. Doesn't look like he's going to throw it like, Charlie Sheen in the Major League movies. You know what I'm saying? Where it's going through the bleachers. Is he shape shifting or is he
I don't know what's going on.
No idea what's going on.
I don't know. Maybe Noah will be back. If not, he got haunted and he'll be in the new.
He got lost in the show.
He'll be in the new Close Encounters documentary on the Discovery Channel coming this fall.
Yes.
What the hell was I going to say before I saw the haunting down below?
My favorite move was the Marsh move, and I know that's probably the one that most people probably are most questioning. Right, it was probably the one you gave up the most. But I think it's also the one that we gained the most as well, right? Because you gained a 24-year-old center fielder with 5 years of control, and who hasn't even touched his his offensive prowess yet, right? And you look at his time in Anaheim, right? He was kind of, I don't want to say he was yo-yoed, right? But there, you're not playing center field because it's some guy named Mike Trout.
I've heard of him.
Right?
Yeah. I heard he's from Millville.
And then one of their other top outfield prospects, Joe Adell, has been up and down and is going to get some time. And then you look at this year, some guy named Taylor Ward came out and had the first 2 months of a Hall of Fame-esque career.
Yep.
Right? So, there's been sporadic at-bats and sporadic time for Marsh. And you look at a kid who's still 24 years old that's going to play into some inconsistencies at the plate. But what you do know is he is already your best outfielder.
For sure.
He's already
His
your best
defense
outfielder.
is so good.
Mm-hmm.
And what he does, at least for the next month, especially for the next month, because now you still have Verling. So now you could put Verling in right or left and get Castellanos and Schwarber off their feet for a game or two.
Yep.
Right? You could put Verling at third and put Bohm at first. You could do things now with Matt Vierling to still get him somewhat regular at bats. Not that you're really worried about him getting at bats, but you're worried about getting guys some days off their feet for a regular, for a game or a half a game, as we'll say, until Bryce comes back.
Can I give you a name, Greg and fam? And again, this is not like a apples to apples comparison because the name.
Yeah, Don, I think he's all right.
Yeah, he's fine. Yeah, Trout's fine. Because the name I'm going to bring up from the past was more of an infield rotational guy, but I'm just talking about just like a bench bat. I think the perfect role on, again, what we hope this is the makings of a playoff / eventual championship contending team. If Matt Vierling could be like the second coming of like a Greg Dobbs, I think that's a good spot.
Sure. Yeah.
Now, Greg
Dobbs
wasn't. Go ahead.
No, I said Matt Vierling's going to be a fourth outfielder. It's always what he was. Yeah. It was just we were so dreck in center field, we tried to make do with it, right? Mm-hmm. I think Thompson came out and said Brandon Marsh is our everyday center fielder, as he should be.
Yeah.
Right. He's going to get out there. He's going to track. He's going to make your corner outfielders that much better just because he's there. And then, like I said, over the next month, you're going to get hopefully some time to get these guys off their feet for half a game. Let them, especially Castellanos. I know he's been hitting well, and he hit a huge home run today, which was awesome. But get these guys not thinking as much. And so that was my favorite move. I know a lot of people were bummed about giving up O'Hoppe, but he was blocked, right? He was blocked. We have JT here for 4 more years or 3 more years, and we weren't seeing O'Hoppe for 5 years anyway. So, and if you go by any of the rumors out there, they were trying to go include Hoppe in a bigger piece to get Rendon or Rodon, but he wasn't going to commit to a second year.
And they wanted,
and so that's when they said we're going to pull it back then.
And they wanted Painter or Abel.
Yeah, and I'm not doing that.
No. Right. I went into it
to give up. You made 3 really good deadline deals. If I had to put a grade on it, I'd probably say B, right? Because none of these guys are superstars. None of these guys are Hall of Famers, right? And they're not going to, they might work.
Right, and I said it in the rant booth in the comments earlier today. You could check them out every Wednesday at 6:30. I gave the entire deadline a B plus. It can be flipped to an A, seeing how a guy like O'Hoppe and Ben Brown will pan out. If they don't pan out well, that's an A for us. If O'Hoppe becomes like the second coming of Johnny Bench or
I don't care, he's still blocked here.
Yeah,
right.
He was still blocked.
If.
And think of it this way too. If you go back and you actually go back to when Brandon Marsh was where O'Hoppe is now in Double-A. The Angels writers and Major League scouts were saying the same thing about Brandon Marsh and his offensive tools as they're saying right now about Logan O'Hoppe.
Yeah. The only difference is again,
now Brandon Marsh has just struggled a little bit in the majors. It's just because he's there, and O'Hoppe's still in Double-A.
Well, and they're tinkering with his swing, which a lot of people are comparing. Like they're messing with his swing like they were doing with Bohm last year. And you've seen, obviously, Bohm, who, he had his resume as a prospect, but nowhere near, at least in my understanding to what Marsh had. I mean, Marsh is a former, multiple year top 100 prospect in the bigs.
Absolutely.
Bohm was highly touted, but I don't know if that was based off of because our farm system sucked or if because he was that good. Like, I know he wasn't like a Mr. Irrelevant type pick. I know he was highly touted, but to me, I think there has always been more buzz, quote unquote, around Brandon Marsh. And obviously you're getting way more of a defensive presence that Alec Bohm has. If Alec Bohm isn't hitting, you're not getting the value anywhere else.
Because of the way it worked out too with the COVID years and stuff like that, Bohm wasn't in the minors very long either.
No.
Right.
No,
so there wasn't the opportunity for Bohm to sit there and become a perennial top 100 prospect. He definitely was. Right. I think he was top 30 if I remember correctly.
This is what people need to understand, right? And like, I by no means was I surprised that O'Hoppe went for Marsh? Yeah, I was surprised to see he was the name. But was I mad? No. And a lot of people were mad about it. And I get it. Listen, a catching prospect. For years, we didn't have any. I get all that, right? But to Greg's point, and I was talking to somebody about this earlier, JT Realmuto is on this roster for at least the next 2 years.
For sure. For sure.
As a catcher, by the way. And I understand, like, listen, to take him off of his feet or make it easier on him and make him age more gracefully, move him to first base. I get why people bring it up. But to me, it's never made sense for this reason. His value is because he's a catcher. It's not because he's got tremendous power numbers. Like, to me, and Greg, you would probably be a better indicator of this, but like the way I've always thought about it is say, hey, you need more of a slugging power hitting presence from your first baseman. JT's not going to give you that. Like, him being that threat defensively and throwing guys out, even though I think it's a little overblown as a catcher, that's where his value is. If he had more power numbers, yeah, okay, you can move him to first. But like, his offense is not nearly good enough for where I could say, I'm going to flip, Rhys Hoskins for, 2 marginal bullpen arms and, a 19th prospect just so I could put JT Realmuto there in a year and have unknown Logan O'Hoppe be the catcher. Like, I feel like we're doing too much.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, would I've loved to get through without giving up O'Hoppe? Sure, because you always fall in love with what if, right? But we also have to factor in 2 things. We only gave up 1 top 5 prospect.
Yeah,
in all the moves we made.
It.
Yeah, what was Brown, like 7?
Well, Brown was like
Brown was 7th in Baseball America. They redid their rankings. Recently. Major League Pipeline didn't. By Major League Baseball Pipeline, he was still 21st. He just had a really good. It seemed like he had a really good year. Yeah. Nicky sweeps solid B by Phillies at the deadline. It could be an A if they make the playoffs a deep run. Yep. Thor throws well and is the playoff rotation. Marsh turns into. Yep. I completely agree.
I think it all comes down to, I think the biggest needle mover, because it's the most immediate thing, even though I know Robertson's a rental. I get that. And Marsh is more of the long-term thing, because I think you have control of him until, I want to say 26, 27, 28. So there you go. So you have control of him.
5 years.
Yeah. I mean, so that's gigantic. And again, another reason why you get rid of Logan O'Hoppe for him. The biggest decider of this deadline is Noah Syndergaard. If you get Noah Syndergaard, I'm not going to say Noah Syndergaard of the Mets, because I don't think that guy exists after the most recent Tommy John. I don't think that person's around anymore.
No, not even close.
I think you're more like,
this guy has an ERA under 4 and is a serviceable number 3 or number 4 starter.
But here's my worry, though. You're absolutely right, Noah, but here's my worry. He was the Angels' 6th starter. Now he's coming in here on 1 day less of rest. Is that big of a deal? I think it's something. I don't think it's like game changing, but it's something, right? And we were in the market for somebody who is a solidified number 3 that needed to be better than Gibson and Ranger Suarez. And over his last handful of starts, he has not been that. Now, experience-wise, yeah, he has way more experience than Gibson and way, way more than Ranger Suarez in high leverage situations in games and playoffs. So getting him for that, completely understandable. But like, it's weird. I've seen 2 sides of it. I've seen people who love it, like Ralph, And I had somebody yesterday who said to me that it reminded them of the acquisition of Jake Arrieta, which to me, I think that's nuts because Jake Arrieta was a mega signing.
Yeah.
And I would certainly hope, while I get the comparison, like two guys that, are still living off of their name and what they did in the past, and they're nowhere near what they used to be. I get it. But if we're talking like Syndergaard equals Jake Arrieta, then it's a disastrous trade.
No, and you also got to remember, too, I mean, let's call it what it is. The Angels aren't a very good team.
No, they stink.
Mm-hmm.
So, his numbers on, with the Angels, you kind of have to kind of look through them a little bit more, right?
Mm-hmm.
The one thing that does concern me with Syndergaard, though, is the batters tend to put the ball in play more with him now than they did before the injury.
Right.
And, and we don't necessarily catch the ball very well on a regular basis. We have our flashes, right? We have our flashes. But then we go.
Well, at least no doofus isn't out in center anymore.
Kicked the ball right to Stott last night, or today it was whatever.
Yeah.
So we definitely have our concerns catching the baseball, but I would definitely call it an upgrade. I would definitely give him the ball game 3, because here's what you do too in that situation. Give me your best 4 innings.
Yeah,
give me your best 4 innings. I don't need anything more.
No,
I need 4 innings out of you.
You're shortening games with your bullpen now.
Yeah, because then you could go right to Ranger. You can go to Kyle for an inning, right? And in those playoff situation games, right?
Yeah.
Because obviously you got Wheels and Knowles at the top, and then you go to Thor and you say, "Give me your best 4 innings."
Yeah.
So that way you can, if you're gonna muscle up and get it up to triple digits, then let's go. You only got 4 innings in you. You know what I mean? Give me 50 pitches, right? And
well, your long relief, I'm even just in the regular season now that again, I think we can all agree we're not going to see Eflin. I don't think we see him ever again.
Nah, I think he's done. I think he's done.
Like
I think
this
he's done for the year.
I
think that move for Syndergaard told me he's done for the year.
Well, I don't think we see him
back.
I don't think we see him again, period, as a Philly, because it's a team option for, I believe, $7 million.
Mm-hmm.
And they would be nuts to go and try and do round 3 of like, hey, he's healthy and then he's gone. Like,
and pretty much after this year, I think we're off $32 million off the books after this year.
Yeah, like I can't do the. It's a shame because Zach Eflin, I went to, I think, his last good start, and that was against the Angels. Like, it was the first game of Thompson. He was unbelievable.
Yeah.
And then he gets
there's
hurt.
no doubt he showed promise at times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
he just can't stay
healthy. It seems like with Eflin, he was feast or famine. He could go out there and throw a 3-hitter. He could throw a 3-hitter, or he could also go out there and get shelled. So,
Sweeps, I completely agree with you, brother. I heard that. I'm like, Jake Arrieta. Okay. I get it.
Even just how we acquired them doesn't make sense. Like, they're completely different.
One was a 4-year mega signing in like 2 weeks before the season.
Yeah.
And the other one was a trade.
Talk shit after the Giants series. Remember that locker room interview?
I will never forget that. I will never forget it. And the other move was a trade where, I'm sorry, like, I don't hate Mickey Moniak that a lot of people do. Like, I actually felt really weird and bad for him that he was kind of getting lumped in with like the Herrera Familia thing, not by the Phillies, but by the fans. Like, I saw a lot of, thank God these 3 are gone, and it was Familia, O'Dummy, and Moniak. Like, listen, was Moniak what he was supposed to be? No. Is it way more in the disappointing side than what do you get? Yes, all of that. But
he needed to change the scenery, though, so I think it worked out perfect.
Yeah.
And then there's people that are upset that we got rid of him, and I say, well, one, he hasn't done enough to be upset about it. You've given him too much time. At least in the minor league system, I know he needed way more bats and more consistent at bats up in the pros, but in a win now environment, he was never going to play here.
No.
Like, going to the Angels is probably perfect for him because they suck, and Trout's gone. Like, it's kind of perfect.
It's sad because he probably could play. He probably could have played defense in the majors, right? He probably was a major league level center fielder from a defensive standpoint. it's one of those things going into the year with how hot he was coming out of spring training. What if? Right? What if he didn't get hurt? Now, again, he was hot in spring training just as Bryson Stott was, and they were hitting a lot of balls that were flat.
Yeah.
Right? And we saw once Moniak got any type of time with the big club, all you had to do was start with something that wasn't flat, and he couldn't hit it. Right? And that happens to a lot of kids.
Yeah.
Right? It's just it's a shame because we all kind of knew that this was the last kind of year for Moniak.
Also, it took him 20 years to get to the majors, by the way. Let's just not forget that. Come on, guys.
But, I mean, Ralph, you drafted him at 18. It only took him 4 or 5 years. That's normal for an 18-year-old.
It felt longer than
it
4
definitely
years.
did feel longer because you're watching kids like you're watching Soto come up at 19.
But you also got to remember
Acuna
too,
come
all
up
those 2 spring trainings back-to-back years for him to finally win it, and he never won it, right? So.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's that what if, right, to begin the year, right?
Yeah.
What if? Because he was playing so well, and there was a level of confidence there.
Yeah.
Momentum. Right, that who knows what would have happened to start the year without the injury. I'm not saying he's still here, and I'm not saying he's still your everyday center fielder. I'm just saying that's that what if question that you kind of feel bad because I same thing. I don't hate the guy. I'm glad he's gone just because I think it changes scenery is huge for him. Gets him back on the West Coast, closer to where he's from. Maybe he can clear his head, play with not so much pressure upon him, and maybe make it. A couple more years. Who knows? But just to give him up for Thor, I mean, it's a no-brainer. You know what I mean? Like I said,
the other guy I'd never even heard of.
He wasn't in our top 30. And if you're not in our top 30,
it was like a low-end prospect.
Yeah.
Literally a low-end
What,
prospect.
Yaziel Sanchez was his name?
Yadiel or Yasiel. He's in Double-A, but he wasn't in our top 30.
Yeah, you didn't give up Jalen Ortiz. You didn't give up McGarry. You obviously didn't give up the 2 big ones, Abel and Painter.
That deal for Rodon, Jalen Ortiz was in that deal. So the rumored deal for Rodon was Moniak, Ohapi, Jalen Ortiz, and one other person. Let me see if I can find it again.
But obviously the Marsh thing screwed that up.
Well, no, what happened was what screwed that up was Rodon not wanting to opt in.
Yeah, the opt-in, $23 million. Yeah.
So then
you're getting a rental that you then have to pay.
You're getting a rental, and you're like, screw that. I'm not giving up all that.
Right.
It sucks because Rodon was like my number one. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, get him. Because you would have 3 pitchers that are top 10 in Cy Young.
Yeah.
Like, that's a formula. When you already had a strength and you're getting bats like Harper and Segura back. Like
I still would have did it after we pulled Ohapi out and obviously got Marsh, but they obviously wanted way too much even for a rental.
Yeah, I can't again. Like if you had full control of him for the rest of this year and next year, and you didn't do that, I probably would have been pissed, to be honest.
Completely agree.
But the basis of it is that's just not the case. He was under no control because unless he got hurt, he was never opting back in. And then if he got hurt, the deal sucks anyway. Who was it?
Eric Miller, who ends up jumping into our top 5 now because Ohapi's gone.
Yeah. Right.
But, that would have been a strong package. Moniak, Ohapi, Miller, and Jalen Ortiz. I would have done that, though.
Yeah. No, I
still would have done that. Yeah, I would have done that all day because – I'm still not giving up any of the kids.
No.
And again, your biggest thing you're giving up there is Ohapi, and again, he's blocked for 2, 3 years, 4 years at the most. He's blocked. So
one word each. We'll fly through these. Did the Phillies do more than you expected at the deadline, or less?
I think what they did was they flatlined to where they covered everything they needed, though. You know what I mean? I don't think they did more or they did less. I think they just flatlined and they went after what they needed, and that was a center fielder, another arm, for this rotation, and then another bullpen guy. That's what we were all screaming for these past months coming up to the trade deadline.
But did you expect that? Did you expect them to actually do that, to make 3 moves?
Oh no, not the way the past 2 seasons went, where we were all where we were all hyped up for the trade deadline, and we come away with some guy that
Freddie Galvis.
Yeah,
Freddie
pretty
Galvis
much. and
Jason Vargas for 1 year.
And I'm wrong. You made 4 moves. Sosa.
Yeah,
I mean, Sosa. I know that. And real quick, because I was getting asked about that earlier. From everything that Dombrowski said, that's a futures thing. Like, they think my guess is he's going to be like first off the bench behind. First off the bench. This is not basketball. Like the backup to, I'm guessing, Bryson Stott. Like, Gregorius will be gone, and I'm guessing unless you get a big name in free agency, you're gonna have Sosa be that backup shortstop, backup second baseman, which is fine. That's
he didn't give up anything for him, right? Jojo Romero is what he is.
But he breaks a Coke can over his.
I mean,
people that were like upset over that. I'm like,
right?
Can we stop?
You love that from Jojo, but it is what it is, right? You know what I mean? Like, come on,
it's a guy. Like, if he's known for breaking a Coke can over his head, he sucks as a pitcher.
Exactly. I think they did more than what I expected, because again, we're all forgetting too. You're getting Gene Segura back tomorrow. That's almost like a deadline deal.
Oh, yes. Yeah,
and you get Harper a month. Again, like another deadline deal.
I think he's going to be back in August, to be honest.
Well, regardless, whatever, right? I didn't expect them to check off all 3 boxes.
No.
I expected 2 out of the 3.
Mm-hmm.
I just, I couldn't tell me which 2 out of 3 was going to be. But when you look at biggest thing that played Mickey besides his play was the players that emerged from the 2016 draft. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
Sweeps Bieber, Justin Bieber, Pete Alonso, Bo Bichette, of course our own gals, Dakota Hudson, Ian Anderson, Nick Senzel, Kyle Lewis. Yeah, I mean, any one of them guys obviously would be superstars on our team right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't expect them to check all 3 boxes, and you did without having to give up a lot. You know what I mean? And again, prospects are prospects until they're pros, and I'm trading prospects for pros for proven guys all day.
Noah, and then we'll go to Frank, and then I have one last question before we end it. Did they do more than you expected, or less than you expected?
I think, to put it simply, they address some glaring needs. I think that's most important. I mean, we needed a defensive center fielder. Sure, it'd be awesome if Marsh hit 300 instead of 2, whatever. But he's just, that's not his game. It is what it is. We'll take whatever offense he can provide. But most importantly, we need someone to man center field and be able to provide more coverage out there. Especially since Greg alluded to, acquire a guy like Thor, who's, he's not what he was with the Mets, but he can give you quality innings. But there's going to be more guys putting the ball in play. So it's critical that we catch the ball out there. So having someone who can play a hell of a lot better than Odufus Herrera out in center is critical.
And everyone's got a different nickname for him.
Oh, dummy, doofus, so stupid.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. The guy that
you know what his nickname is now? You know what his nickname is now and forever, hopefully? Oh, he gone. He gone.
What's funny too about Marsh, and he's nowhere near, especially the offensive guy that like your Brian Reynolds are, or your Cedric Mullins, who we've all on these airwaves talked at least for the last year, right? But he also didn't cost as much, right? Can you imagine the package you would have to send? You would have to send over to Pittsburgh or Baltimore for Mullins or Brian Reynolds.
Yeah,
like both of those guys would be great, but you didn't have to send nearly that package to get Marsh, who, if he hits, can be just as good, if not better, than those 2.
Yeah, I was expecting.
For sure, I think he's a better center fielder than those other 2.
Mm-hmm. Oh, definitely, especially defensively, 100%.
I mean, I wasn't expecting us to make some huge splash. I think we made the right moves. Overall, I think we improved the baseball team, and it gives us a legitimate shot to be a contender for the postseason. In fact, I think we make the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I would have loved for Thor at the last minute to turn in the Rodon, but I'm not sitting here upset about it, right? You know what I mean?
It honestly would have been foolish to, go nuts. Because listen, I want them to win. I think they're going to win currently constructed, but the division race is over, at least for us, it's over. We're not catching that. We're going for the wild card. And I think, again, barring anything dramatic and, catastrophic, you get these two guys back, you get, what you expect, at least around what you expect out of your acquisitions. You're going to be right there, if not comfortably.
I don't know. Call me crazy, but
you're crazy.
Yes,
no,
most likely it's the wild card. I get it, but I don't think the Mets are a shoe in to win this division. Of course, there's Atlanta that's
but it's not going to be us.
Playing,
be us. It's gonna
playing damn good ball, but
I don't disagree.
I don't know, fellas. I'm not ready to completely write off the division yet.
Yeah, I won't write it off, but it will be based off of is it the Braves? Yeah, I won't write it off, but it'll be based off of is it the Braves or is it the Mets? And I hope I'm dead wrong.
What are we 9.5 out?
Yeah, it's nothing. Yeah, it was 9.5 at least yesterday morning. And I'm guessing
Gabriel, I think Stott does move over to take Didi's spot.
He freaking better. Yep. If not, we're doing something egregious. Frank, really quick, what did they do more or less than you expected?
I mean, going into this expectation wise, I thought this is going to be another repeat of 21, 20, and parts of 19, where it's like, all right, we're going to address the glaring holes and then get Bupkis out of it. But they exceeded my expectations. I'm very satisfied with the moves that they made. I like Thor over Bailey Falter in our starting rotation. I like Brandon Marsh over Dum Dum. I mean, I think they did a great job. I think Dombrowski and John, and I don't know if it was the magic of John Middleton going into the crowds every single Phillies game and talking to them that worked, but whatever happened in the front office, it worked. So I'm very happy. They exceeded my expectations.
Speaking of Middleton, real quick on the Thor deal, part of why we didn't have to give up as much for Thor is because we took on his entire remaining salary. So the fact that, Middleton finally, broke the seal and we went over the luxury tax allowed us to save a little bit on what we sent in return.
Yeah, for sure.
And it was
to Anaheim for Thor.
And his money wasn't enough to take it into that next threshold. Which
we weren't going over into the next one either. So it was all right, cool.
Perfect.
We'll take it back. You take one of our change of scenery guys, right? I mean, selfishly would I have loved a Tyler Mahle or some of these guys that ended up going. But when you look at what was given up for some of these guys, I mean, they gave up a lot. And what was everyone giving up? Everyone gave up pitching.
Well, we
only gave up one pitching.
The Mariners screwed it up. They with what they did for
3 top 5s.
Yeah, after that they set the market. It's like, okay, thanks, appreciate. It's like they did kind of in a way, but no, not to this level, but sort of what Minnesota did with Rudy Gobert. It's like, really, 7 first-round picks, 6. Yeah. Really, do we have to do that? Thanks for ruining it for everybody.
Yeah.
I'll end with
Gabriel,
this.
I love it. Segura and Harper, absolutely, man.
Yes. No, it should.
I mean, the NL is a 4-team race right now. The NL. And then you're going to have the wild cards, right? You have the Dodgers, you have the Padres, you have the Mets and the Braves.
Yep.
And then you're going to have whoever wins the Central and that last wild card spot. Those are what you're fighting for right now. And I think what we did enough to solidify ourselves to hopefully hold on to that third wild card. And if that means we go to Milwaukee or we go to St. Louis, I like our chances.
Yep, me too.
Yep. I'll end with this to answer the question. I'll say they did way more than I expected. I thought we were going to end up with 2 of Brett Phillips, who I believe ended up going to the Orioles, correct?
Yes.
I'm good. When I hear the review on him, he brings the fun to the game. Okay, if you're talking about that, how good is he?
I do love watching him play, but he can't hit a lick. You want to talk about a guy can't hit a lick? 200
hitter. I'm good. I'm good. A 200 hitter just got cut. I'm fine. I'll deal with Vierling. And then the pitchers, I thought we were either going to get Rich Hill or Syndergaard. So I was 1 for 3. I'm glad we didn't get Rich Hill. I know Evaldi was rumored. Also, Evaldi would have been okay. But I was good on the Rich Hill thing. I'm fine. And Syndergaard, they've been talking to him for a couple weeks. You know what I'm saying? Like that's been moving around there. And I actually thought Syndergaard was going to be a Philly preseason. Like I thought he was going to be like an off-season acquisition. So he eventually made his way here.
Yeah.
Nick Delgado says, "Come get some Greg. The arches are open."
I had arches for dinner.
I'm sure. And were the nuggets dry, Greg?
I had some honey.
Fam, we're brought to you by BetUS, and they're a leading online sportsbook that have been in the market for over 25 years. You could bet literally anywhere in the U.S. on literally anything, especially, Greg, if you want to, I would say pull out the Eagles betting slip, but I hope you trashed it, so I don't want to see it.
No, it's back in Florida. I didn't want to travel in case I lost it.
Anybody in the Greg Milankovic Florida household, trash it immediately. Burn it. Get rid of all the evidence. Please, we need you.
You back in the area, Greg?
For the month, yeah.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
You'll be seeing Noah at 2 a.m.
Yeah, we'll be going up to Gleason soon.
All right.
But fam, like I said, BetUS, they're a leading online sportsbook that have been in the market for over 25 years. You can bet literally in the U.S. anywhere on anything. You can use the link or the promo code A2D for 125% sign-up bonus. That's all I've got. Any last-minute things before I head out of here?
Pro Fan Talk tomorrow. Birds of a Feather also tomorrow.
Yeah, and I'm sure they'll be covering. I forget who asked. I think it was Blue Empire City. They were asking
it was Blue City. Yep.
I don't know if the Hall of Fame game will be their main topic, but hop in there, ask a couple questions. I know they'll
they'll all have it on. Yeah.
I'm sure they'll dabble.
All I got is let's go, Phils. Let's get that playoff berth.
Oh yeah, let's go. Big series coming up. Big 7 games coming up. We got 4 with the Nats, all at home, 3 with the Marlins. We got to go 6 or 7 at minimum.
Yep.
Two-word response. Give me the record over the next 7. One with this.
Next 7?
Yeah, Greg said the next 7.
Next 7?
5-2.
I too will go 5-2.
I'll go 6-1. Greg?
Fuck that. 7-0.
I'm with you, Noah. 7-0. Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go, baby.
For Noah,
beat the teams you're supposed to beat.
For Ralph Delavecchio, for Frank Vespi, I'm Ryan Brodo. Shout out to everybody who chimed in on the YouTube and the Facebook and all of it. And again, if you're catching us later in the program, obviously after we go live, feel free to jump in the comment section. Also, we love reading those. We love reading some of them, unless you're talking about Blake Griffin and the Sixers. Then we'll meme you and we'll make you a clip on the.
And
on the
Frankie Q cards, it's good seeing you.
It's nice seeing you too.
And if you have any Quietus questions, well, go to the other channel. That's all we have for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate everybody. We're out of here.